We are conditioned to feel as if being single is a state of lack. I beg to differ. It's actually a state of luxury. Now, don't get it wrong, it does get shitty. It gets really, really messy, but it's absolutely worth it. Welcome to Line by Divine. My name is Sheila, and here we're going to be exploring our connection with God. We're going to be exploring our singleness and also discovering new steps to take to improve ourselves and improve our lives. Listen, this is my first video, and I am absolutely excited. I'm going to be as real as I possibly can, and I do cuss, so if you're not okay with it, you could exit. I don't mind. But I cuss, so let's get used to it. All right, so I've been single for the past 6 years. The first half of the 6 years, I was having a little fun, mingling here and there. But the past 3 years, I have been in total isolation, awaiting my counterpart, right? Because most of us, we're waiting for our kingdom spouse, the spouse that God promised us. That's who we're waiting for. And sometimes when you are in the waiting period, it could get very, very frustrating. It can get sometimes depressing. But do you know the whole purpose of the waiting period? Did you even bother to look it up? Like, why am I waiting for God to bring me something? Why don't I just go out there and, to bring me my person? Why don't I just go out there and find my person? Right? But that is where faith and trust comes in. That is where you should be leaning on God and trusting God's judgment. During this 6 years that I have been single, I have been through ups and downs, good times and bad times. But I truly appreciate the work that God has done on me. I'm not perfect, and I don't think I will ever be perfect the way humans consider perfect. I don't think so. But I have made some changes that I am so proud of. I'm not even gonna lie. I am so proud of the changes that I've made, and I'm proud of the work God has done on me. Now, during these stages, there were lots of questions that went through my mind. I still have these questions actually. And these are questions that sometimes build doubts in my mind. But then I say to myself, you know, it's tough today. Hold on to faith. It's going to be a better day tomorrow, right? I will ask myself, like, God, why is it taking so long? 6 years. It's a long time. I'm like, why is it taking so long? Am I supposed to be like healed all the way before my person comes in? And then you also have to deal with the type of men that approach you, right? The demographic of men that approach you. For me, the type of men that have been approaching me is not ideal, to be honest. It's not ideal because it's either they're completely opposite of my preference or they're married. And honestly, I don't want to deal with a married man. I would rather somebody who's single, available, and most of all, has a solid relationship with God. Extremely important for me. So, anyway, I have my book in front of me, so sometimes you're going to see me looking down, but it's mostly because, girl or guy, listen, I could talk for ages. The book keeps me centered and like focused. So because I have my notes, it's just going to keep me on topic instead of all over the place. So sometimes you'll see me look down a little bit. That's because I'm just grabbing information and putting them together. Um, Now, when you're in isolation, it's not just about your love life. When God decides to put you in isolation, it's more than your love life. Sometimes you have stagnation in your finances. Other times you have instability in friendships and relationships. And there are times that it will feel like nothing is moving. Even when you put in effort, it's like, dang, what's going on? It's like nothing is moving. What's happening? And so for some of us, we pray, right? We pray and we lean on God. I wouldn't consider myself a Christian. I wouldn't consider myself religious, period. However, there are certain things that I truly believe in, and prayer is one of those, right? Because prayer kind of grounds me. When I speak, when I'm talking while I'm praying, I hear myself and I listen to myself. When I listen to myself, it helps me realize that, hey, you are alive. You are okay. Yeah, you're facing all these issues, you're facing all these obstacles, but you're alive and you're healthy. And you have a God to depend on. I know I do. Absolutely. I have a God to depend on. So I don't lack. So the single season doesn't really feel like a lack for me. It feels more like building myself, like I'm building my character. This is the window that I have to actually meet myself, right? To get to know who I am, to get to adjust certain things about myself that I'm not too proud of, and to, learn new things and implement new things into my life that I want to see. So that's how my mindset has changed about being single, as opposed to when I first became single. When I first became single, I thought it was great. I was thinking, hey, I'm just going to have fun and my partner will find me along the way. Until I realized that a lot of these relationships are karmics and counterfeits. They're not necessarily here to make you happy, but they will teach you. They will teach you everything you need to know to excel in whatever your goals are. So if you are currently in a relationship where and I know that this person ain't my person, if you're in that type of relationship, I would suggest that you exit and work on yourself. If you are unable to exit, because there are some of us, I'll give an example. I have 3 children, and in my previous relationship, there were a time that I was like, hey, it's time for me to exit. I knew in my heart that it was time for me to leave. But because of the children and how young they were, I couldn't just leave in that moment. But also, I didn't have anybody to tell me that, hey, I know you're still in your situation, but you could take the opportunity to work on yourself. Right? But then I learned, right? Along the way, I realized that, hey, especially this time that I'm single, I must work on myself. I must build and become the person that I want to see. I must become the person that I would love for my husband to call a wife. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to wait for your kingdom spouse to come in before you start working on yourself. You start now. now that you're single, which is even better because now that you're single, there's less distraction, less noise, right? There's less um dependency on others because now you're working on yourself. You're building your relationship with God, and you're building your relationship with yourself, right? So it's very crucial that during this single season you pay attention to yourself. Now what's going to happen is once you start paying attention to yourself and you start choosing you, there are people that are going to fall off. They are going to fall off because you're paying more attention to yourself. You come first at this time. You are the number one priority. If anyone around you loves you truly, they will accept that, hey, I know Tiffany is working on herself. I can tell that she's working on herself, and I might not have the resources to help her at the moment, but you know what? I'll give her whatever support she needs. Those type of people is good to keep around because they will give you your space and check on you every now and once in a while, like, hey, how are you doing? How is everything going? But then they will still give you your space because they understand that you're growing, right? So in this moment that you're single, it is very imperative that you put your attention and resources onto yourself. Okay? Now let me tell you what's going on now. Now that you're single, let me tell you what's actually going on. There's two different types of single. There are single people who still have lots of people around them, right? They have friends, they have family, they have associates that they party with. They have people that they go to events with. So their life is busy. They're constantly on the move, right? So there's those type of single people. Actually, there's three types of single people. I just thought about it. The second type of single people is single people who are actually really single. There's no one around them. They are in total isolation. Even if they have people, they probably have very few, maybe parents, maybe one or two friends, but their circle is very small and closed. That's the other form of single people. And then there's the third form of single people, which I'm not too, pleased about, but they exist. The third type of single people are those that are married or in a relationship. However, they're single. Because even though they are in a relationship, majority of the responsibility is on them, or they feel alone. They feel as if they're the only person putting in work into the relationship, right? So these are the three main type of single people that I have seen. If you know any other type of single people, let me know. Educate me. We're here to help each other, right? So during this moment of isolation, what God is doing with you is, okay, before we get to what God is doing with you, let's talk about those people who are single but mingling around and having relationships, like, maybe one night stands, maybe just dating around, and they have lots of people around them, right? So this type of single people, and then the other type of single people who are in a relationship and yet are single. If you find yourself in this type of condition, I'm gonna need you to rearrange certain things in your life. Look into things and remove certain people that do not benefit you or are not here for your growth. You're going to need to cut some people off. You are going to need to dedicate more of your time to yourself, right? So if you're busy, I would really suggest that you have a day or two out of the week where it's all about you. It's all about you and God. Check in with God. If you're not somebody who prays, talk to God. God is your best friend. I'll tell you that. God is your best friend because God will never judge you. They love you. And you guys, I have another channel called VCP. And on this channel, I discuss how to grow in spirituality, how to master yourself, how to stand in your power on this channel. You could always subscribe to that channel. I will leave it under the description so you can see. And then on that channel, I'm going to discuss with you guys what I think about God and how I see God. I refer to God as they. I know a lot of people refer to God as he, and some even refer to God as she. I refer to God as they because to me, it is both masculine and feminine energy. Okay. So, back, see, I digress, right? So back to the subject. During this time of your singleness, God is working on you. What God is doing with you in this moment is God is breaking down your old identity and building up a new identity. But it's not actually a new identity. It's actually you, who you truly are, right? The old you dies and the real you emerges. That's actually what it is, right? And I'll be honest with you, it is shitty. It sucks. It's probably going to be one of the worst moments in your life because, I mean, anything dying is not really beautiful, is it? When flowers die, it's not really beautiful. When people die, it's not really that beautiful. It's actually sad and heartbreaking. So that's what's going to be happening. Your old identity is going to be dissolving while the real you comes out of the ashes. In this moment, you're going to need God more than ever because you will have lots of doubts, questions, uncertainty. I mean, you would not have clarity at all because you are actually walking into the unknown. You're walking into the unknown. You don't see anything. You don't know anything. That is the reason you need God, because God is going to be your director, your guidance, your light. God is going to be that crutch that you need to get to the other side. So, your life choices are going to change. Your patterns are going to change. Things you used to love, you're not going to love anymore. You're going to start to find yourself pushing towards new interests, So it's a very, very interesting journey. It really, really is. But this is the time that God is crafting your story. This is actually your single state. It's actually the beginning of your journey if you apply what I'm about to tell you well. We go to church, right? I'm going to do a lot of references to Christianity because that was my foundation, right? Along the way, as my path was moving on, I did discover other religions and how they work. But I know a lot more with Christianity because of my background. So I'm going to be making a lot of references to it. We go to church to pray for a husband or a wife, for our divine counterpart, right? Some people have been going to church for years, mainly to seek a husband or a wife. But all pray without action is futile, to be honest. If you're praying and praying and praying and you're not putting in action, you're not going to get anywhere. You're really not. And when I say action, I'm not saying go out there to actively seek your partner. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm actually telling you is this is the time for you. This single state, it's the time for you, not for anyone else, but for you. Okay? So use this time wisely. Really, use it very wisely. Humans, we are extremely powerful, but we are also very sensitive, right? We take in so much, and sometimes we don't even realize that we're taking in things. We take in things unconsciously all the time, all the time. And so you want to be mindful of what you're eating physically, but also what you're taking in spiritually and mentally. You want to be very mindful of that. Okay? Pay attention to it. Don't just be around people because you think they're cool. Don't just be around people because they're popular. It's immature, sort of. You know what I'm saying? It's not the right, well, right or wrong, that don't matter, but it's it's just not gonna be favorable to you. Okay? So yes, one of the very first things you're gonna do is be mindful of what you take in and who you take in. Be mindful of the type of shows you watch, type of movies you watch, especially when you're not mentally strong enough. Me, for instance, I could watch TV. I could watch a lot of things, but I also cannot watch a lot of things. I can't watch horror movies. I can't watch gory movies. I can't watch anything where someone is being abused or mistreated, like, brutally mistreated type of thing. I can't watch something that is too bloody. That's because my soul does not resonate with those type of things, and I just cannot tolerate to see someone else in pain. Even if it's a cartoon, it's so weird. Sometimes my boys watch cartoons and we love Dragon Ball Z, to be honest. But there are some Dragon Ball Z episodes that are very, very, very gruesome and a little too much for me to bear, that is, right? But I'm sure lots of other people can do it. So you want to be mindful of what you take in. I'm sure lots of you know that we are in the matrix, or a system that has programming. And so when we first enter this world, immediately we're being programmed, right? And in different stages, there's different programming. Learning to walk, starting school, different programming, becoming a teenager, different programming, and evolving into an adult is also another programming, right? So as we are mindful of the things we're taking in, there are also things that sometimes you don't have any control over it. It just is programmed that way because you're in the system. And so somehow you must abide by some of the rules and regulations that goes on in the system, right? But still, t- be careful. Be careful. Um, During this single season, there are times where you're going to feel like giving up, mainly because you can't see anything. You can't see in front of you, you can't see beside you, you can't see behind you. It feels like there's confusion everywhere. Mainly also because you are lacking information, right? And most of all, you're lacking alignment with the Most High. Establishing your alignment with the Most High you must. It's a must, right? So you're going to feel changes within you. You're going to feel changes within you. However, your external reality, however, your external reality, it's not going to feel or look like the changes that you have made within you. And so you just need to keep telling yourself, hey, I'm making the changes, and in time, my reality will also change, because it will. It will, right? Change starts from within, whether you like it or not, right? You could change your habits all you want. You could change people around you all you want, but if you don't change within you, things will most likely stay the same, or sometimes worse. It all depends. So these moments, these times are unknown, right? They're unknown. So you need to hold on to faith. Hold on to faith. And prayer is not really about going on your knees and praying for 2 hours and 3 hours. I don't believe in that shit. I really don't believe in that. For me, sometimes prayer to me looks like walking down the street and saying to God, God, thank you. Thank you for my life, and thank you for this moment. That is a prayer, right? You're giving gratitude to God and to yourself. That is a prayer. Okay? Now, let's move on to okay, let me fix this real quick. When you're praying, you want to make sure that you're praying for strength, especially during the times that you feel lost and you're in doubt. Take the opportunity around those times to pray. Do you know why? When you are in doubt, when you're feeling lost, do you realize that you are very emotional during that time? You become very emotional. And people don't even know how to use their emotions. Emotions is a superpower. Sensitivity is a superpower. When you are emotional, you need to channel that emotion, right? Emotion, energy emotion. You must channel it somewhere. And so when you put it in prayer, it accelerates your manifestation, right? So that is why it is very important that when you are in doubt, when you are in pain, when you are in suffering, whatever the condition may be. This applies to even happy moments. It's not just about sad moments. It applies to when you're excited, right? You can still use that emotion and channel it towards your manifestation, which you could do through prayer or scribing, right? Or speaking. When you speak, you channel those emotions out. You're saying it into the universe. It creates a ripple effect and you will see change. Okay? It might not come within the time that you're expecting it to, because there's lots of things ahead of us that we don't see. Sometimes there's blockages, places that we don't see. Mind you, you also have to deal with the enemies along the way. You don't know, right? But God knows. God sees. And that's why you must lean on God. Okay? You are going to feel lonely. I think that's the biggest con when it comes to being in isolation and separated from the world. You're going to feel lonely. And people will not understand you. You will be misunderstood, mainly because when you bring the attention to yourself and the focus onto yourself, you learn. God teaches you. Trust me, you will learn. When you learn, you obtain new knowledge, new insights, information that majority of the people do not know. So sometimes when you're interacting with others, they don't really understand where you're coming from. They don't really get you. So you need to understand that not only are you going to feel different about yourself towards others, but you're also going to be perceived differently by others. And then sometimes they might think you know it all. But let them think whatever they want to think. Who cares? Right? Who cares? And then we get to the point where some people get the fear of being left behind. You are never left behind. And you can never get left behind. You must comprehend that everyone is on a different path. Everyone has a different destination. Hell, we all have a different beginning. We all didn't come from the same mother or the same country. And we sure as hell don't all live together. No, we don't. Right? So being left behind is an illusion. It's not real. Okay? So you might want to scratch that mindset and not pay too much attention to that, okay? I'm going to list a few things, a few good things about being in isolation. One, you get deep clarity. You have deep clarity. You are able to hear your inner voice. You're able to even see more because now you're quiet more. You're not talking as much. You're listening more, right? So you get deep clarity. And then you get to reconnect with yourself. For lots of us, we forget who we are, especially when we are entering our teenage years. Because we have so much obstacle and judgments going on during our teenage years, we forget who we truly are. One of the most vital times you actually know who you are is when you're a child. when you're a child, your programming is not as deep or steep because you don't care what's going on around you. All you want to do is just have fun and be you. That's all you want to do. And so there's less restrictions around you on how you move, how you think, and what you do. Right? The next one is to focus on character development. Develop your character. Work on yourself. If you have anger issues, work on it. Right? If you like to take in other people's perspective more than your own, work on that. If you are engaging in habits that are not beneficial to you, change it. Okay? And finally, you want to focus on your goals and creativity. Channel your energy into something you love. Honey, like, it could be the smallest things. It could be something like writing, right? Running, reading. And it could be something as big as putting yourself in places that you have fear of. Me, for a very long time, I had a fear of coming in front of the camera. I was so shy. I was like, oh my God, people are gonna judge me. People are gonna say things about me, and oh my God, what am I gonna do? And then God worked on me, and guess what? I don't give a shit. You could think what you want to think. That is your business, right? I have my business to worry about. I love to teach. I love to help people. I love it. I love it. I love it. And so I started to see it from a different angle. Instead of looking at it as, being in the public eye, people are going to have their opinions about you. I started to actually draw my focus onto why do you want to be in the public eye? Why are you doing this? And the reason I'm doing this is I want to help people. Somebody out there somewhere needs to hear this message because they're crying every day. They're confused. They've been waiting for so long for their counterpart and they don't even know what to do. Right? And if a few words coming from me can assist you on your journey, then I'm more than glad to do it. I am more than glad to assist you. Okay, let's move on. Be real with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror every day and tell yourself the truth. Sometimes we underestimate the power of truth. Truth is extremely powerful. Okay? So when you look yourself in the mirror, tell yourself the truth about yourself, but also tell yourself who you want to be. Whatever we hear, every information that we hear, let me tell you something about the human body. When someone is telling you something and when you are telling yourself something, there's no difference. The brain does not know the difference between information coming from outside and information coming from inside. It does not know. All it knows is, okay, I hear you. I'm taking it in and I'm going to apply it. That's all the brain does for you, right? So the more you're saying positive affirmations to yourself, the more you're loving yourself, the more you're putting yourself first, your brain takes that in, and that's how it's able to go in within you and then exhibit on the outside. That's how you're able to see a lot of people with so much confidence, and yet they walk around with confidence and they don't even say anything. You could just feel the confidence in their energy. They don't have to tell you they're confident. You could just feel it, right? It's because the mind, the body, and the soul knows who they are. Okay? Remember, the whole point of us being here is to rediscover ourselves. Yeah? Okay? Okay. Now, you're going to want to do mental check-ins with yourself. Check in with yourself. Maybe every hour or so. If that's too much, maybe you could do just a day, in the morning, at night, whenever you can. It's up to you. But check in with yourself. Ask yourself, you okay? Okay. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. People might look at you like you're weird, but who cares? Check in with yourself. One of the first things we're going to do is create a 3-month roadmap. Okay? You want to create something realistic, something manageable, towards your goals. I know a lot of people have like New Year resolution and they plan for the year, and then sometimes halfway through the year they fall off. It's because it's kind of unrealistic, right? The 3-month window gives you the chance to take things step by step, right? So there's no pressure. When you give yourself 3 months, you're able to complete more. You're able to do more. So give yourself 3 months, set a goal. The other 3 months, you set another goal and you work towards it. Do your best to complete it. Yeah, I, for one, have a problem with procrastination, but I'm working on it. See, it's one of those things, I'm working on it, and I'm sure I'm going to get there. But once I started setting my 3-month roadmap for myself, it gave me no excuses for me not to do what I am meant to do. Because I have a daily schedule, a monthly schedule, I am able to fulfill and accomplish more. Right? Because every single day I know, okay, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this, we're doing that. So it makes it easy, less stressful, and doable. So you want to create a 3-month roadmap. Cultivate stillness. Sit a little bit, man. Like, we move around too damn much. We got too much going on. Too much. Sit a little. Okay? Sit. Do nothing. Say nothing. Just breathe. Implement that. Okay? And you'll see some changes. I think there's one more that we have. Okay. Now you want to focus on the partner that you want to be for your future spouse, right? You want to become that partner that you aspire to be. So all these things, all these plans we're doing, all these changes we're making. We're working towards becoming our ultimate greatest self, our true self, our authentic self. That's the goal. Trust me, you don't want to be anybody else. It's not fun. Being yourself is more fun. When you're yourself, there's no such thing as mistakes. You're yourself. Okay? So set healthy boundaries. Set the boundaries. You know, people will respect you when they see your boundaries. More because they see how much you love yourself. And there's nothing more attractive than somebody who loves themselves. So, more than anything, I've said a lot. I have said a lot. But more than anything, you want to love yourself. Okay? Because loving yourself is going to set that momentum for you. It's going to put you on that path. And then you're going to see yourself accomplish your goals over and over and over again. Okay? Now, this is the last one. Invest in your passions, okay? Invest in what you love. Invest in yourself. All right? Buy the clothes you want. Get things that make you happy. Do not overindulge. We try. Sometimes it's hard. I ain't never gonna lie. Sometimes it's hard. Like some things you want, they're super expensive, and you probably go work overtime, get your money, and go buy it. Yeah, we get it. But be disciplined. You know, be disciplined. And take care of yourself and pursue those passions. If you want to be a teacher, pursue it. If you want to be a healer, pursue it. If you want to travel the world, go ahead. You know, that is what's gonna bring you happiness. Do it. I mean, people say YOLO, you only live once, right? Technically, we don't. But right now, in this moment, yes, we only live once. Why would you want to spend all your time being miserable? Or even spend all your time just waiting on somebody? No, don't wait. Don't wait for anyone. Do you. Okay? Do what makes you happy. God will protect you along the way. God will guide you along the way. You have no worries whatsoever. Okay? Now, romantic relationships are the very foundation of our human society. The Creator loves to see people in love. Have you ever been around people who are in love? Have you ever been around them? I'll be honest with you, I haven't really met a lot of people who are truly in love. Maybe one or two. But I'll tell you something, the energy feels good. It feels good to be around people like that. Right? But it also feels good to be around single people who are confident in themselves and happy with themselves because they chose themselves. Right? They chose themselves. Well, this brings our subject to a conclusion. Press the like button and subscribe to this channel. I will be dropping new knowledge every week. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.